What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Paddock, and today I'm going to give you the #1 practice tip for the best results. That sounds like a really big promise, doesn't it? The #1 practice tip for best results. It's true, and it's very, very simple. So let me give you a little backstory before I dive into it. I teach a lot of adult intermediate saxophone players, intermediate, early intermediate through advanced. And I can't tell you how many times, especially in their first or second lesson, that when I meet with a new student and I say, hey, what are you working on? They name 5 or 6 songs. They show me 4 or 5 different exercises from different books. They tell me 3 or 4 different kinds of scales. They tell me all of this stuff. And in their mind, they think the more that they work on, the better they're going to sound. And the opposite is kind of true. So before I tell you this #1 tip, first, I'd like to ask you that if you enjoy my content, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and leave me a comment. Comments really help with the algorithm with YouTube, so I'd really appreciate a comment if you have something that you like to say or you have some questions. So this #1 tip is very simple. It's cut back on the amount of stuff that you're practicing. You should be trying to master one thing every week or every 2 weeks, depending on how much you're practicing. So you should have one main goal that you're working on. If you're an intermediate student, it should be learning a song, and not like just learning the notes and the rhythms, but like really diving as deep as you can into that song. Listen to a whole bunch of different versions, ad lib on it, dissect it, really figure out every single thing that you can do to that song, every note in that song to make it sound more musical. If you do that, everything else you play will sound better. Once you figure out how to master, like really master one song, when you go to the next song, all of the stuff you just worked on is going to be part of the next song, and it's going to be way easier to get to that level on the second song, and even easier on the third, and even easier on the fourth, until it gets to a point where you just automatically play like that. So what I want you to think about when you're practicing is not trying to play 5 or 6 songs at a time. You should be playing maybe 2 new songs. You should have one that you're trying to perfect and one that's like you're kind of setting up for the next stage. So one that you're learning from scratch, and then one that you're perfecting and that you're diving really deep into. Now, of course, you can play other songs that you've already learned and try out new material and that kind of stuff. I'm not saying only practice one thing, but you should have that one thing that you are diving super deep into. And the better you can play that one song, whether it's Autumn Leaves or Amazing Grace or the song from Frozen or anything, Giant Steps, the Charlie Parker Omnibook transcription, anything that is your main thing, that should be what you are focusing on. And everything else should be supporting that one goal. By supporting that one goal, I mean you're obviously not going to only practice one song the entire week. So you're going to be playing scales, you're going to be playing long tones, you're going to be working on your vibrato, your dynamics, your phrasing, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying only practice one thing. I'm saying make one thing your main goal that you're going to master. By master, I mean own it. It's effortless. It falls out of your saxophone. And I promise you, once you start working on music like that, after you get your first song sounding that good and that effortless, and I say song, it could be a transcription, it could be anything, it could be your major scales, whatever you're working on, once you master that thing, when you go to the next thing, it's going to be easier to master it. And then when you go to the next one, it's going to be even easier. You keep building on it. But if you keep kind of banging around from song to song and none of them sound great, your scales don't sound great, they're not clean and even, you don't have like this focus on becoming a master at the one thing you're really trying to accomplish for that week, you're never going to get to that next level of playing. It's that simple. Breaking it down into smaller bite-sized pieces is the absolute easiest way to make it to the next level. Now, mastering something obviously has different levels, so you should be mastering it on your level. So your level might not be like Kenny Garrett level or Gerald Albright level, but it should be mastered for your level, and then the next song, the level should be bumped up a little bit, and the next song, the level will be bumped up a little more. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And I promise if you practice like that, you will see immediate results. Within 2 or 3 weeks, you will hear a big difference in the way you sound. And that is your #1 practice tip for best results. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. If you're going to change your practice routine and really work on mastering that one thing before moving on to the next, I would really appreciate it if you'd leave me a comment below telling me what you're working on. Subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Thanks a lot.